Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. It is day of here on Sunday in the NBA. We've got 9 games we're looking at. Hopefully you caught the video that came out last night, late night on Saturday, going through some projections for the games today. Had a couple bets in that one that I'll throw back at you here as well, but I would ask to subscribe to the page. A lot of new people coming in, a lot of new viewers, new subscribers. So that is the deal. Each and every day, there's a video that comes out the night before the day of games, looking at projections and some of the things that I'll be dissecting to pull out my best bets. Occasionally have some early bets in there as well that you want to make sure that you get ahead of as these lines change. For instance, this one that I made already with the Utah Jazz that we'll talk about in just one sec. But like I said, quick reminder to subscribe to that page. Let's actually just run through exactly what we have here. We've got 9 games. We've got some back-to-backs. I like to give you all of this stuff as well. The injuries comes out on the video before as well, the night before video. So in this one, we're going to go ahead and look at the one quick more look at the back end for teams. Utah is playing Milwaukee, who is on the second end of that back-to-back. I'll talk about that in a second. And a lot of guys out for Milwaukee now. Chris Middleton officially out, Brolo out, and Dame is questionable, sort of a late questionable ad, indicating he's probably not playing. Charlotte is going to be playing again tomorrow. So there's some front end stuff here that I look at. The Clippers are playing in Miami at Atlanta tomorrow. I think this is a bad spot for the Clippers, to be honest with you, at 3.5, if you want to consider taking the 3.5 points for Miami in that one as the home dog. Toronto's in OKC, another pretty good home dog, but they're also going to be playing at New Orleans tomorrow. So just keep an eye on those things with guys in and out of the lineups and all that stuff. Here are the bets from yesterday that I gave you on Saturday night. Hopefully you saw these already. Over 246.5 in this game. And Utah is actually at 3.5 now. So I gave this one out. We get some closing line value, which is where we take a bet at -1.5, and the value on that bet rises because as people bet on it with us, that line moves to 3.5 now, right? 3 and 3.5. So it's a little bit more expensive if you want to take the Jazz to win this game with the spread than it was when we took it last night. That's why you want to get ahead of these videos, these lines with these early videos I'm bringing you. Quick little bit there. If you did miss the bet last night, it's the rest advantage after Bucks just came from Dallas last night, flew to Utah, and now have to play another road game in the midst of this 5-game road trip. They've got one more road game as well after this one. And Utah's incredible at home. They have a nice rest advantage. They lost recently to the Philadelphia 76ers without Embiid at home, but they were in a bad spot. They came back from a road trip, and they were third game in 4 nights for them. Now they're rested. Second game in 5 nights. This is a big advantage for them in what is already a massive home court advantage for the Utah Jazz against a now very depleted Milwaukee team that's going to be tired and is good on back-to-backs, but this is a much different situation than the back-to-backs that they faced in the past. So if you see Milwaukee on no rest and the numbers that they have there, and that you're like, well, they're really good when they play on back-to-backs. They've played 5 of their 7 back-to-back games at home rather than on the road. The one loss that they have in a back-to-back is at home or on the road rather to the Pacers. And so it's just different to play back-to-backs on the road versus in your own gym. You're just sleeping in your own bed 2 nights in a row. You play basketball, whatever. This is a lot different. So we like this one. Sticking in this game with the best bet that I'm bringing you here. Number 3, first player prop that I've got for you. It's Walker Kessler. It's over 5.5 boards. -110 on FanDuel for a full unit there. The thing is that's annoying is right as I was about to record this video is when I got the news that Brook Lopez, and Chris Middleton are out. Mostly the Brook Lopez news really frustrates me because he was going to be in here a lot more, in my opinion, in this game because of the fact that they're so big, Milwaukee. And without Brolo in there, you're still going to get Bobby Portis. You're still going to need guys down low because he's a handful. But he's not 7'2" Brook Lopez. That is what Walker Kessler would have to be in there for, so they didn't get dominated there. At the same time, Giannis is still probable. He's going to play in this game. And if Giannis is in there, kind of need Walker Kessler as the secondary defender to be there to meet Giannis when he gets closer to the rim. If you don't have him, it's pretty big trouble, right? John Collins and Lauri Markkanen are not going to be enough as the small ball players that there's the small ball 4 and 5, if you will, without Walker Kessler on the floor. However, I think you need a lot more big in terms of Walker Kessler's stature and his ability to defend the rim. Milwaukee shoots the best field goal percentage inside of 5 feet. They shoot like the 7th most attempts inside of 5 feet and make the most 7th most as well. So I think, what we've seen from Walker Kessler in the past against this team is he comes in, plays 29 minutes a game. That should say 19 minutes per game, not 29. That would be incredible. But it's 19 minutes per game, 7 boards though. And that's his thing is he comes in there. You have some guys that come in and are a microwave scorer. This dude's a microwave rebounder. The fact that he has 12.3 rebound chances in his last 3 games, and that's all in 16 minutes a game. Like, he's averaging a rebound chance a minute that he's on the floor. That's pretty incredible. Nobody does that. So obviously he's in there for one reason only. And in this game, it's going to be 2 reasons. It's really defending the rim and rebounding. So with the minutes hopefully being there for him, as I'm predicting they will be, we're going to go ahead and go to him in that one. I'm going to stick to this game, even though this is best bet number 6 that I have for Keyonte George here. This was also a late addition. Once I saw the scratches for Milwaukee and how it kind of seems like they're forfeiting this game. I mean, I know other guys are going to come in and try, but everybody's going to be a little bit tired, including Giannis, who I don't know how much he's going to be able to carry them. So that's why I like Utah in general, but I also think there's some minutes available now for guys like Keyonte George. So I was not ready to bet on Keyonte George. In fact, I was ready to bet on Colin Sexton if Dame Lillard was in. But Dame Lillard's questionable at best. So I don't know that you're going to need to have Colin Sexton in there to make sure that you're D'ing up Dame at all times. Putting Keyonte George in there for too many minutes he might be susceptible to getting just cooked by Damian Lillard, as opposed to the really good defense of guys like Chris Dunn, by the way, who probably would have guarded Dame as well as Colin Sexton. Those 2 guys would have gotten, I think, a lot more minutes than Keyonte in this game. However, with those guys out, with Brolo, Middleton out, faster pace probably incoming even without Dame. If Dame does play, he's questionable. The late questionable tag is what's weird, but they are on the back-to-back. So, he's genuinely 50-50 is Dame. With that, though, I'll go ahead and bank on the Jazz handling business pretty well and them not being able to they can afford to bring Keyonte George in. They're not worried that his defense will screw them if Dame was out there just cooking people, right? His minutes have been on the rise for the last 10 games. So has his points and his field goal attempts and his potential. Like, everything's up in the last 10. They kind of really need to see how to fit him back in with Colin Sexton becoming the starting point guard, Chris Dunn becoming a really good secondary backup point guard as well. But Keyonte now getting more minutes on the second unit with Chris Dunn as well. And he's more of the point guard versus Chris Dunn being sort of the shooting guard lockdown defender. And so Keyonte George should be able to score against a team that is not able to limit point guards at all with their best center defensive player in terms of Brolo in there. And now Keyonte George, who's been going to the rim more as well the last 10 games. And that's why once Brolo came out, it was hyper relevant to Keyonte George getting points, because not only is he scoring a lot by having some pretty good shooting numbers, he's driving to the rim super well. And it's actually really impressive to watch him go on both sides of the hoop, left and right. If you kind of look at his numbers around the rim, he's attacking it from both sides and able to finish with both hands. Really, really nice young player. So we'll take him to get his 13.5 PA, the points and assists combined here. We're going to go with an under here. If y'all have the cojones to come with me on a Kawhi Leonard under 26.5 points, minus 105 on MGM for a full unit. I got to shout out Prop Beaver. I was on the Kyle Kerm show on YouTube as well. Kyle Kerms has the Sauce Network, the Sauce Network. Kyle does a great job, so I love to go on his live streams at like 4 p.m. throughout the week. Did one today as well, and was talking to Prop Beaver about this before the show and during the show, that he likes Kawhi Leonard under, and I love it as well for the reasons that he gave. So Miami shutting down number one options is the biggest thing, right? Because if you just take this bet and look at the way that Miami has defended over the last 30 days, you're going to be like, what the hell are you doing? And that was his main point, and I agree. But that's where we find this value, is like when people go, what the hell are you doing? Hopefully that's because you're finding something that no one else is seeing. The way that Miami defends your best player is really crucial. Like, we've seen a ton of guys that have not been able to get theirs that are the number one options against this team, like Kyle Kuzma, like De'Aaron Fox, and a couple other guys over the last 7 games where Miami has just made sure that the top player on the other team doesn't get theirs, right? I'm forgetting someone big too. Jason Tatum, he got 26, still went under his prop there. And then Triple J also went under. Paolo Banchero went under. He had 20 points in that game. Triple J held to 15. Power forwards are getting stopped. That's a big a theme here of what I was saying. In the last 30 days, they allow the fewest points per game to power forwards. That should say allow fewest points per game to PFs, not just in general. It's to power forwards. And I just mentioned some of those good scoring power forwards that they've been limiting in that time. Paul George is also back. He's been missing a bunch of games or been limited in minutes over the last like 7 or 10 games where Kawhi's been going bonkers. And now we've got him back. Should be playing a full set of minutes here on the slate. So feel pretty good that there's going to be a lot more shots available for other guys, to be honest, because Haywood Highsmith is probably the best wing defender, wing/power forward defender for the area where Kawhi really works. And if he's going to be there, there's going to be better opportunities for other guys with the way that they're playing. Also, like the Heat at 3.5. I really should have mentioned, like, James Harden probably is a good under. We're in Miami. Strip clubs in Miami are incredible. there's direct correlation there. Just say it's James Harden might be a little bit on the hungover side here for a 3:30 p.m. start on a Sunday. Sunday stuff gets wacky. All of that leads to Kawhi not necessarily being able to get as many points if he doesn't have the main facilitator in there as James Harden would be. So let's go ahead and get one more bet in here that I've got, and this is technically bet number 5, but we're closing it out with Jakob Poeltl. And we're going over 15 points and rebounds combined, 15.5 for Jakob. Put a full unit on it. MGM has been giving us some soft lines lately. I hope you guys are going to bet MGM if you have an account there. If you don't, I highly recommend it. They're giving us some great NBA options compared to the other lines that are available. We're getting good value on Poeltl because he is coming back from injury. And so when he's come back from injury, he only had, I believe, like 17, 16 minutes the other night, not getting the 25 to 30 that he was getting in the games beforehand. Now, he's had a couple of days rest since then. Usually it's one to two games that you really bring a guy back slowly and don't play him full minutes. But it could be one game and not two in this one. And I think this is a moment in time that they would really love to have him against this OKC team, where if you want to beat OKC, especially at home, and they were a great bet at 12.5 where it opened, by the way. I think it's been bet all the way down to 8.5 on most books for the Raptors. So a lot of sharp people believing that the Raptors are a good bet to cover on the road against one of the best home teams in the Thunder, who have not been as good lately, who are missing Jalen Williams, J-Dub, and they're also missing every other shooting guard they have, Trey Mann, as well as Isaiah Joe. There's not going to be too many shooters on the floor, but just as important for that what that means for Toronto is they're having a solid advantage down low if Poeltl is in there. I do think he's going to be able to manhandle Chet as far as the rebounding goes. That's why I like the points and rebounds for him. They're both low. So the points are actually a little bit lower, but he's definitely a better rebounder than he is scorer, and centers are rebounding more than they are scoring against him. So I didn't want to just take the points, but I like them both because OKC is allowing the 5th most rebounds overall, the 3rd most rebounds to centers. They've just been one of the worst teams rebounding against other teams in general, in part because at least on offense, they're not getting quite as many offensive rebounds. Chet is sometimes it's tough for Chet to figure out where to work when SGA is working inside of 9 feet. And that's what's really important here is, can you stop this team from going to the basket, particularly SGA? Can you stop Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from getting all the way to the rim or even pulling up from 7 feet where he is money, right? Like a 75% shooter from like 7 feet and in. And so with that in mind, like Poeltl's got to step up. He's the dude. There's really no other centers on this team. So if they are serious about winning this game, which is open to them and available on a weird, wacky Sunday, because Sundays are always kind of weird. Like I was saying, some people go to the gentlemen's clubs on Saturday nights. Some guys just don't want to play on the weekends and want to kick it with their family. So it is a weird sort of weekend game here. And I do think there's opportunity for Toronto to cover this spread pretty well. And in order to do that, they need their big man in there to be owning the paint against guys like Chet and even big Jay Williams, Jay Will. So we'll see how many minutes Poeltl gets, but I've got him at about 25 minutes. And if he's at 25 minutes, I've got him at good here for the 15.5 PR that we would need. All right, quick look at all of these bets, and then we are going to run through how we did. I should say 4-1 the other night on Friday for the last video that we had. Hopefully you were riding along 4-0 on the Playa Props there on Friday. I'll talk about that in a sec. Here's what we've got for the summary for today. Quick other reminder to subscribe to the page and like this video if you enjoy what you're getting. I'm coming back with 2 videos every day. The night before, we're looking at next day, game day, right now, we're looking at 3 p.m. drop time for these videos. 3:30 p.m. when I can't get to it at 3. Anyway, the Walker Kessler bet here is over 5.5 boards, 1 unit. Kawhi Leonard under 26.5 points, 1 unit. Jakob Poeltl, not Jacob. Jakob Poeltl over 15.5 PR. Keontae George over, that should say over 13.5 PA. I want to add the assist to it, the 3.5, the 3 assists that you need for him as well. So over 13.5 points and assists for Keontae. Milwaukee and Utah, we took this last night at -1.5. So this is just what it's at now, -2.5, -3.5. That's what I have it listed as. But the official bet here is -1.5 for Utah. I should have made that clear. And the official over for this game as well, over 246.5. That's when I got the Utah and Milwaukee bets. So let's ride on all those. Quick look at how we did on Friday. Jay Kuminga, Doug Odd continues to roll along. I think his prop ended at like 22.5 points, and he still got over that after fouling out in a really good game against the Hawks that he had. Vince Will went over 13.5 points. I think he ended with 15 there for us. Trae Young over 36.5 points was money. He had 32 points alone. And then Pascal crept over for us to get us 22 points and the W there for him on the full unit. And Sack and Indy Imagine being such an idiot as to ruin your 5-0 night because you took it under in Sac versus Indy. Whatever. We move on. 4-0 on the player prop totals that day. 3.4 units there. 2.4 total on the day. So where we're at now, total of 170 and 140. Nice clean numbers there. 10.8 units up. But look at those player props, man. 150 and 105 plus 26.5 units. I throw the other bets at you because I like to have some fun and I like to keep going, but really the profit lies within those player props, as you can see, looking to end the season better than 50 units up on the season for these player props. And by the way, these totals didn't start until the middle of November. So that's why we haven't had quite as much volume as some other guys might have had already, where they had like a month on us or 3 weeks or so. While I was still figuring stuff out with this show and had another show that I was on, and now we're here and we are cruising along. So last week was awesome. 16-8 plus 6.3 units. Let's keep it going on Sunday as we move into this next week and do some winning. All right. I appreciate the time, y'all. Appreciate all the new followers as well. New subscribers. Continue to do so if you would. Going to have some college hoop up with my guy Oaks as well. If you are into college basketball bets, we'll start getting those up here with Oaks as well. He's doing those about twice a week. So we got a nice slate on either Tuesday or Wednesday this week. I'll get back to you on that stuff. Follow on the social media as well. Twitter at Land Your Bets. Also that on TikTok and Instagram. Also here, obviously on YouTube. So I will be coming back to you guys tonight with a video for tomorrow, looking at Monday's slate. And until I see you then, happy betting.